In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to read a chord chart, or more specifically, the chord symbols in a chord chart. And so let me throw down some chord symbols here that we'll dissect. So the first one, let me put an E minor chord. Another one might be an A7 chord. Let's put, how about a B minor 7 chord. Let's do a G sharp augmented chord. How about we do a real fancy one here? Let's do let's do a B flat diminished 7th chord. Ooh, pretty fancy. And the last one, we'll keep it super simple, is just your C major chord. So the thing that all these chord symbols here that you see have in common is that they, no matter how complex of a chord you see, it basically tells you two pieces of information. Only two pieces of information. Now the first piece of information that it will tell you is the location which all of these notes are going to be built off of, okay? And another way to think of that, there's a term that we use, and that is called the root. Every chord has a root note where the rest of the notes are built from, okay? And that's what the first piece of information is. And this location piece is found on the left side of the chord symbol. So I'm going to draw a line down to separate the location from the other stuff. So here, down there. This is kind of tricky here. Now I want to stop there because whenever you see one of these sharp or flat symbols immediately after the first letter, it represents a location. So G sharp is a location, you know, in it's a frequency. B flat is another one because it comes immediately after the B. That tells you that that is a location. So let's go through each one of these. The location or the root for E minor would be what? That's right, just an E. Root of an A7, all the notes are built off of the A note. B minor 7, built off of a B. G sharp is built off of the G sharp note. B flat, B flat. And the C major chord symbol is built off of the C note. So that's the first piece. Now the second piece of information is this. It tells you the type of chord that these are. So this is a minor, the type is a minor chord. This is a 7th chord. This one is a minor 7th chord. This one is an augmented chord. This one is a diminished 7 chord. And here, even though there's nothing on the right side of this C, it still tells you it is a type of chord. When there's nothing there, it tells you that it is a major chord. And so you might be thinking, type, I still don't understand it. And a practical way to think about type is it just means which additional notes you're going to add to this root note will define the type. Okay, so let me write this down. Added notes to the root. And this is where it kind of can get a little complex, but the good thing is once you start reading chords, you'll start memorizing what these are. And so, or if you don't know, you can go look up in, music book, or you could just go online and do a search on minor seventh chords, and you'll find it'll tell you what notes, additional notes to add in order to create this type of chord. So let's go over each one of these. This E minor, little m stands for minor, is a minor chord. That's the type. And minor chords, by definition, include these notes. It includes the one. The one, by the way, is always the root. That's what the location means. And you're going to add to the one, which in this case is an E, you're going to add a flat 3 note and a 5/5. This A7 chord, type of chord, is a 7th chord. 7th, or dominant 7th, you can call it that. They call it that as well. And for all dominant chords, 7th chords, you include the notes 1. Once again, 1 is always the root. The 3, 5, and the flat 7. And this B minor 7th type of chord is a minor 7th chord. And all minor 7th chords include the notes 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7th notes. It's a 4-note chord. You might be saying, how do I know these off the top of my head? And the way I do is I just memorized them because I play these chords. So once you start doing it, you will do the same. You'll memorize what they are. And if you don't, remember, look them up. And that's how everyone gets started. And then you'll, figure it out later on. Okay, this G sharp augmented chord. This is an augmented chord. That's the type. Augmented. And all augmented chords include the notes 1, 3, and a sharp 5. B flat diminished 7th is a diminished 7th type of chord. All diminished 7th chords include the notes 1, flat 3, flat 5, and okay, this might be a little tricky, but the 6. Some people will say it's a double flatted 7th. It's you're getting kind of into some crazy music theory there, but just for simplicity's sake, a double flatted 7th is the same as a 6. So I'm just going to put 6. And this last one here, this C, the simplest chord symbol of all, you remember I told you, even when there's nothing written after, it still tells you that there is a type associated with it. And the type is major chord. And all major chords include the 1, 3, 5. You remember the ones are all the roots which are located here. Now, you might have a couple of questions on, well, what are you talking about, flat 3? Which flat 3 is that based off of? I'm going to do another lesson that actually shows you how to create these chords on an instrument. So that shall explain all that. But for now, the first lesson in chords, I just wanted you to be able to understand what the chord symbol means.